I'm guessing, Governor, by now you have heard of plans by Kimberly-Clark to buy property in Trumbull County in Warren on the site of an old steel mill to put yet another manufacturing facility here in the state of Ohio. Your thoughts on that?
Well, another manufacturing company coming to the Mahoning Valley is certainly great news for the valley, and it's great news for the state of Ohio. So we're excited about this. I'm very optimistic about the future of the valley. I think some things that we sort of take for granted, but close to major highways, halfway between Pittsburgh and Cleveland, centrally located as far as the whole country is concerned. We've got a great future in the valley, and this is just one more piece of evidence to prove that.
Is the state involved in any of this? Because I know the state sometimes provides incentives to bring companies like this. Is the state doing anything in this?
So we've been involved in some conversation. I'd have to check, Jerry, to see exactly what the involvement is. But we work with the communities, certainly work with the Mahoning Valley in regard to projects like this. One of the things that leadership of the valley has asked us to do is to carve out a separate economic entity, economic development area for the Mahoning Valley. And we're going to do that. We think that the valley is separate and distinct from Cleveland, separate and distinct from other areas, and to have a economic unit basically from Ashtabula down to Columbiana County, I think makes a lot of sense. And I think that when we formally make that announcement and get that started, it's going to make a difference too.
That does sound interesting. We're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of that horrible train derailment in East Palestine. Your thoughts at this point, looking back, how far we've come, and just kind of the strain, because I'm sure this created things in your administration you never anticipated happening, and things that had to change and for the better. Your thoughts on the whole process?
Well, I think the strain has really been on the people of East Palestine, on that village that got hit so very, very hard. But I think things are coming. They're moving forward. The cleanup was certainly important. We continue to monitor the air, continue to monitor the water. We're in there to stay, as I've explained to the community, explained to the mayor. I think economically, there's a good future for that village. One of the things that we announced just right at the end of this past year was a series of loans that could be actually forgiven and become grants to a number of small businesses in that area. And we think that will help them thrive and help them, employ more people and keep the economy moving forward.
When that incident happened, that happened the night of February 2nd, I'll always remember that because it's my daughter's birthday. But February 3rd, when you became aware of what was going on, kind of give me a quick Cliff Notes version, looking back at how you and your administration jumped into this with both feet.
Well, our EPA people, Ohio EPA people, showed up right away. We had other emergency people on the scene, and then we monitored it that weekend. And I do remember a call. I think it was Saturday night when it became apparent. I needed to go over there, and so I went over there. And again, the burning was continuing. And we had to make some decisions with very little time to make those decisions, and we certainly made those decisions. But my commitment to the people that I made then was that we were going to stay there. We were going to continue to monitor the water. We're going to continue to monitor the air. We were going to be there for the people. And I think a year later, look, it was very traumatic. Very traumatic experience for people to live through that and to go through that. I think a year later, things are certainly moving in the right direction. The biggest complaint we get, or not complaint, but the biggest concern we get is people tell us, look, I'm doing okay now, my kids are okay, but I'm concerned, how are things going to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, as far as our medical condition? Is something going to happen to us medically that's a direct result of that train wreck? And so that's why we are subsidizing the clinic that has opened up in East Palestine. These clinics don't come in there, they takes a while to get them going. And so we're subsidizing, I think, for 2 years. And that clinic is going to be there and is going to continue to be there to help people deal with, whatever medical problem that might come up.
On more current events, soon after, within a matter of hours after you vetoed the SAFE Act, House Bill 68 on, I guess it was Thursday, we immediately started hearing from local lawmakers, including Senator Michael Ruley, that lawmakers would try to override that. Your thoughts that, despite your feelings on this, that you felt it was necessary to veto, that lawmakers are going to try to work around you to still get that passed?
Well, first of all, I think it needs to be said that people on both sides of this issue care about kids. There's a difference of opinion about what to do, but everybody loves kids and everybody cares about kids. For me, the decision came down to this. I spent a lot of time over Christmas, about 10, 12 days, and focused on this, what the facts were, and talked to so many different people. Talked to doctors, talked to other people, talked to hospitals, but the most important people I talked to were parents. And I can tell you that, the parents who have gone through this is a very difficult situation. They're seeing their child suffer. They're seeing their child go through a very, very tough time. And all they want is the best for their child. They want their child to be happy. They want their child to be okay. And so many of them looked me in the eye and said, Governor, my child would not be alive today but for this type of care that they've been receiving in the state of Ohio. Please, please don't take this away from other families. Let us as parents, along with the medical people that advise us, along with the child, let us make the decision. And so when I vetoed the bill, one of the things I said was that if I was to sign this bill today, I would be saying that the state, the government should oversee and should supersede the will and the decision made by parents. And these are parents who have obviously the best interest of their child at heart. They're the ones who love the child the most. They're the ones who live with the child. They're the ones who, God has put in there to protect the child. And for us to say we know better and we're going to override those parents, that's just kind of tough. I think the conservative position, conservatives, we talk a lot about parental rights. I think this is certainly parental rights and family rights.
Given that, are you a little disappointed in the reaction from many quarters, Bernie Moreno, for example, others that have come out criticizing you for your veto?
No, I certainly expected a lot of criticism. Again, this is an issue that reasonable people can come down on different sides. But I'm the governor, and I had to make the best decision that I could, and I didn't make it in a vacuum. I didn't just sit there and make a decision. I went out, talked to people, listened mostly, and came to the conclusion that this was the right thing to do. And to do otherwise would be, I just think, fly in the face of what we as Ohioans believe. And that what we believe is that parents, are the first and best teacher of the child, and they're the ones who have to make these difficult decisions. And for the state to override that, to me, just did not make sense. Now, we all agree on some things. I'm issuing an executive order which will ban any surgeries on minors. I think everybody agrees with that, that the hospitals that are doing these programs are not doing surgery, but we want to make sure that nowhere in Ohio is a minor going to face surgery or be able to get surgery in regard to this particular challenge that they might face. Second, I've listened to the legislature, and one of the things that people in the legislature clearly have pointed out is we don't have the data. So I've asked my health department, and we have the legal right to do this, to require clinics and doctors across the state to report data so that we get a better understanding and the public has a better understanding of what's going on in this particular area. The third thing that we promised that we are doing is starting to work with members of the legislature to make sure that if you're an adult in this state, you know, the bill that I vetoed was all about kids. I also think it's important for an 18 or 19 or 20-year-old adult to get the best care possible. And what we don't want is these fly-by-night clinics that might be popping up and are popping up around the state, where, you know, you walk in and they might give some sort of help, but they're not doing the psychological assessment. The thing I've learned that's most important is a long-term psychological engagement with that particular individual to really understand what their problems are and to try to help them through those problems. And most of these cases, it's resolved without any kind of medication at all, just because of that good counseling. And that counseling is really the key.
We've learned this afternoon that Congressman Bill Johnson will officially resign his seat in Congress at the end of the day on Sunday, January 21st, and then become president of YSU the next day. At that point, would you then declare a special election, or is that something that you're still looking into whether or not we'll do that?
It's one of my jobs as governor of the state of Ohio. If there is a vacancy in the U.S. House of Representatives, someone from the state of Ohio, is to call an election. And so I will set a date for the primary election. I will also set a date for the general election. It would appear that we are too close at this point to the primary election in March to have those two coincide, to have the special election coincide with that particular date. We're still working with the Secretary of State, but it looks like we will not be able to do that. So we will have to set two separate dates, one for the primary and one for the general election. And, you know, I hope to be able to do that in the next week or so.
Okay. And one last thing I'll ask you, because we haven't touched on this, just look back at the last 12 months, your kind of Cliff Notes, 30,000 view highs and lows for the state of Ohio, aside from our derailment, obviously, but the highs and lows of 2023.
Ohio's on the move. We are on the move in 2023. We're going to continue to be on the move in 2024. As I've said, it's truly our time in history. We have things that we take for granted, like water, like location. Other states, frankly, do not have. Our biggest challenge is we're just creating a lot of jobs, and we need the people to fill them. And to make sure we have the people to fill them, we got to continue to focus on education, teaching kids to read, focusing on career tech. We have great career tech in the Mahoning Valley, and we're seeing more and more kids who are in high school want to get into that career tech. We're also making more opportunities for scholarships available to those individuals who want to go a different path, want to go to college. So making sure everybody has the ability to live up to their potential. That's what our focus was in 2023. It remains our focus in 2024. We want to remove barriers, mental health barriers that might exist, barriers that are caused by addiction. And so we will continue to focus, on those two issues very much in the future as well. The other thing is just, the overall bringing jobs and businesses to Ohio. And, I'm bullish on that. It's happening. Love it when we can take business away from California, take it away from some other state. People are coming to Ohio because there's no better place to live, no better place to raise a family, no better place to start a business. it's just a great, great state and a great place, and we're going to continue to move forward in 2024.
Hi everyone, I'm Lindsay Watson. Thanks for watching the WKBN 27 First News YouTube channel. If you want more video news, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the WKBN 27 First News app for breaking news alerts.